For 40 years, Tektronix has been synonymous with the best in oscilloscope technology. Now from Tektronix, here is a complete line of high-performance, low-cost digital storage oscilloscopes. One of these scopes can be the answer to your needs in the manufacturing test area, medical equipment servicing, electromechanical equipment testing, for the design engineer, the service technician, or in systems applications. We have your answer in cost-effective digital storage in 3 new scopes with both analog and digital storage capability. At the touch of one button, the analog oscilloscopes you've been familiar with become full-featured digital storage scopes with the capabilities you've come to expect from Tektronix. But you're asking yourself, do I need digital storage? Do you need to make measurements quickly and accurately on low repetition rate or single-shot waveforms? The 2230 and 2221 combine digital storage with on-screen cursors and readout to make this difficult single-shot measurement with speed and accuracy. This is the final test area for this portable defibrillator. The single-shot output waveform must meet specifications for peak amplitude and residual amplitude after 6 milliseconds and 10 milliseconds. Note how quickly and accurately the cursors in the 2230 make these measurements.
The sharper image with the digital storage and the accuracy of the cursors make using this a lot easier than the old CRT storage scopes. We've had about a 25% decrease in test time because of the digital storage also.
The measurements from the CRT readout are then made a part of the manufacturing record for this instrument. Here's another measurement application calling for fast and accurate measurements on a low repetition rate waveform. This medical diagnostic magnetic resonance imaging machine is checked regularly for function and calibration. The waveform shown has several measurement points for amplitude, duration, and uniformity. Time and amplitude cursors with CRT readout make these performance measurements a fast and accurate process. Do you need to make measurements before a trigger event? Do you need to make measurements on long, detailed waveforms at high resolution? All 3 instruments, the 2220, 2221, and the 2230, acquire and store 4,000 point or 4K records with pre-trigger information. The 4K record is displayed with scrolling in a 1K window. This waveform is from piezoelectric sensors installed in this component insertion machine. The unambiguous and repeatable trigger point in the waveform occurs after several waveform details that are of interest. The pre-trigger capability of the 2230 used here lets us compare these details, including time offsets, with no difficulty. With the 2230, we can use cursors and readout to assist in these comparisons. Here is the same waveform as captured with a CRT storage instrument. All the details before the trigger edge are impossible to view. We also cannot store a waveform, then manipulate it to compare it to the next waveform. Nor can we use cursors to make accurate measurements. Do you need to find fast glitches in waveforms? These are difficult to detect on analog scopes, especially if you don't know they're there. And CRT storage scopes or conventional digital storage scopes don't display them either. All 3 of these new DSOs have peak detection, displaying any spike wider than 100 nanoseconds, regardless of the sweep speed selected. This is a timing error splinter, only about 300 nanoseconds wide. At 5 milliseconds per division, it's invisible on any scope but those with peak detection. The 2230 has delayed sweep. We can use this to examine and characterize that glitch more exactly. For more challenging waveforms, such as those that are brief, unstable, or infrequent, you need accumulated peak or envelope mode. This mode will show you waveform maximums and minimums over time. This is a metastable flip-flop. The clock edge is close to the data edge. Occasionally, the flip-flop doesn't toggle correctly. On an analog scope, these occasional failures don't occur often enough to display, unless the scope writing speed is very high. Do you need to make measurements on signals buried in random noise or riding on other signals, or both? Signal averaging in both the 2230 and the 2221 will bring out the real underlying signal, providing a waveform uncontaminated by noise. Here's a power supply waveform. The design engineer sees a spike riding on a noisy AC waveform. The AC component is available at another part of the circuit, inverted and without the spike. The engineer uses that waveform and the add mode of channel 2 to isolate the spike and the noise. Now the engineer can expand the spike horizontally and use signal averaging to reduce the noise. The noise is a 10 megahertz signal that is non-synchronous with the spike. Thus, signal averaging will remove it. The cursors can now be used to characterize the spike in detail. Do you need to document waveforms? Analog XY plotter output is standard on all three instruments. The plotter output might be used to document a repair, record test data, or document design changes. Much more output capability is available with the communications options. The RS-232 and GPIB options provide waveform plotting and printing capability to HPGL, Epson, and ThinkJet printer plotters. Do you need to build a reference waveform library? The 2230 includes an expanded waveform memory in the communications options. This can store up to 26 waveforms in battery-backed memory for up to 3 years. A service or biomedical equipment technician would store troubleshooting or calibration waveforms. In manufacturing test, the extended waveform memory might be used to store repetitive test comparison waveforms. A design engineer would compare waveform changes with design changes. The communications options can also provide waveform data to your personal computer or other controller, either directly or over a phone line through a modem. Either the GPIB option, option 10, or the RS-232 option, option 12, provide waveform transfer to or from reference memories or displays, instrument control of storage acquisition modes, and single sweep reset. In the 2230, the communications options also provide extended battery-backed memory. One of these instruments will be the answer to your measurement questions. Let's review these three products and their major specifications. The 2220 has 60 megahertz bandwidth both in analog or non-storage mode and in digital storage mode for repetitive waveforms. With a 20 megahertz digitizing rate, all of these scopes will record 10 points per cycle on a 2 megahertz sine wave, single shot. The 2220 has a 4K record length. That is, each digitized waveform is stored as 4,096 points. It can store one 4K waveform in a reference memory. All three instruments will capture and display 100 nanosecond glitches at any sweep speed. All will display waveform data before the trigger point, pre-trigger viewing. All provide analog plotter output of waveform data in the standard instrument, and all are available with either GPIB or RS-232 interface options for more printer, plotter, and controller capability. The 2221 has all of the 2220 capabilities, plus single button signal averaging selection, accumulated peak or envelope mode waveform selection, CRT readout vertical amplitude and horizontal time settings, cursor measurement of delta time and amplitude with readout, advanced diagnostic routines built in, and CRT message capability with the communications options. The 2230 has all the features of the 2220 and the 2221, plus bandwidth is increased to 100 megahertz for both the analog or non-storage mode and storage mode for repetitive waveforms. A second time base is added with delayed sweep capability. The operator may select either 1K or 4K record lengths, and the reference memory can be selected as one 4K record or three 1K records. The reference memories can also be reformatted, that is, moved or expanded vertically or horizontally. The trigger position can be selected to be anywhere in the record. The signal averaging parameters can be adjusted to fit signal conditions. The communications options include the expanded 26 waveform battery-backed memory. Tektronix backs the reliability of the 2230, 2221, and 2220 with a 3-year warranty on labor and parts, including the CRT. A variety of optional service plans available at the time of purchase can economically extend the coverage for up to 5 years in most countries and provide for periodic calibration. With your warranty, too, comes the world-renowned Tektronix Service Support Organization, committed to servicing tech products exclusively. With our complete product documentation, training programs, and applications assistance, tech support is easily the most comprehensive in the industry. For more information or to place your order, call a Tektronix sales office near you. There is a tech office or authorized Tektronix distributor in most major cities anywhere in the world. In the U.S., you may also contact the Tektronix National Marketing Center at 1-800-426-2200.